Okay, so good morning and good evening to everyone. Welcome to the Crypto Carnival. My name is Pei. You can call me Ray. I'm from Rainbow Six, and I'm going to be the host today. So today we have Wesley, also known as Attack on Axie, a social media influencer. Igneous from Bybit. I believe Marcus from LuckyMeta, right? And
Yep.
Alex from Metacraft, Edwin from X-World Games. So welcome, guys. So first of all, could you give us a brief intro to your project, or to you, to our audience? Let's start with Marcus.
Yeah, sure. Can you hear me properly?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. My name is Marcus. I'm a business development manager. Our project name is LuckyMeta. It's a decentralized iGaming platform based on dual token model. The LuckyMeta token LMT and the LuckyMeta Gold LMG. The LMT is our equity token of the platform, mainly used for revenue dividends, mining liquidity, and for NFT asset purchases, while the LMG is the game currency token used for play games in our platform as a betting token. The players that join us can enjoy free cryptocurrency, which is our LuckyMeta token, via daily rewards. Then they can enjoy free mining of our LuckyMeta token just by holding our NFTs. And they are able to have profit sharing with us, where players can receive our platform revenue dividend. And we have referral rewards as well. So please visit our website, www.luckymeta.io for more information. And our white paper is downloadable in our website. And our customer support can answer any of your queries. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcus. Let's hear about Edwin. I believe you're on mute. You're on mute.
Okay. Hi, can you guys hear me now?
I can hear you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I'm Edwin, and I'm the co-founder of X-World Games. And XWG are doing the next generation gaming Metaverse. And something we're trying to do different is while other people are doing the building Metaverse land, we choose a different route to go with. We want to build a bridge. So yeah, we want to focus on the building the infrastructure, the underlying frameworks. So first, what I mean by bridge is we want to bridge the game developer and players from the traditional gaming side and into the crypto space. So how can they adopt with the crypto platform, the DeFi, the stuff? And second, and we want to bridge the players between all these games. Yeah. So they will have a seamless cross gaming experience when they switch over all the different games. So we call that the cross gaming experience. Yeah. And third, we want to also bridge the DAO community and into the gaming ecosystem. So how should we set up the governance and for the ecosystem and for each particular gaming, and how should we set up how the tokenomic works and how they gonna interact with each other, and who gets to decide what. So on the game side, we also developed our first Japanese ACG style game called Dream Card. And Dream Card V1 was launched last year, and the V2 beta we just launched it last month. So I'm very excited to be here and looking forward to enjoying the discussion with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Edwin. And Igneous, nice to see you again. Can you tell the audience about Bybit?
Yeah, thanks. I'm very happy to be here. My name is Igneous Trainers. I'm the head of communications of Bybit. So we are one of the world's largest crypto exchanges by web traffic. The January number just came out. We're number 3 in the world. And we're actually one of the only ones that actually saw growth in traffic. Most everyone else saw a decline in traffic. So we have always been very interested in the blockchain gaming world, as well as GameFi world, as well as just like being a platform for many of those Web3 for Metaverse kind of like tokens to find home to kind of find traders and to kind of bootstrap the liquidity. Bybit launched our spot exchange mid-year last year, and we have been doing a lot of launch pads that include game tokens, and they have been immensely successful. Some of the most successful projects on our launch pad are actually GameFi tokens. So it is a space that we are actively supporting, with our 5 million. I always kind of inflate our numbers, 5 million and counting users, and very, very active just kind of communities on Twitter. We have almost 1 million followers. We have communities on Discord and Telegram of 13 different languages. So we are here to be a help for projects to connect to the audience. And thanks for having me.
Amazing. Thank you. Wesley, let's hear about you.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm Wesley. I'm a content creator. I work on a YouTube channel, Attack on Axie, which I started based on Axie Infinity, as you can probably guess from the name. But I branched into many other games. And what I've ended up doing is consulting with several guilds that are now turning into DAOs as well. And they're working just in mainly utility-based NFTs and NFT gaming. And I help them structure what games to get their scholars playing and how to manage them all and how to branch out into bigger guilds. And at the same time, I run the YouTube channel where I create basically models as basis for people to use for things like breeding or expanding on their NFTs and how to better utilize these games that have come up and sort of provide tools for people to utilize, because there's a lot coming out here, especially in the NFT gaming space. There's a lot of junk floating around there too, to be perfectly honest. So my goal was always just to provide people with tools they can use to find out where is the value in some of these games and how they can best approach them. So that's what I've been working on. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Wesley. Last but not least, Alex.
Yeah, okay, I'm not muted. Yeah, well, yeah, thanks for having me, Ray. Hello, everybody. Yeah, I'm Alex Benesh. I'm the business development manager at Metacraft.pro, and we're the first decentralized platform that connects NFTs, Metaverse, as well as AI. We have an AI component, and we have our own Metaverse. We have our own game that can plug into the Metaverse. And we are deployed on a number of platforms, one of which, it's Metis, Polygon, and BSC. So we're on layer 2, and we have a very unique platform where you can create NFTs on our platform and then import them into Metaverse, and then go ahead and go to the marketplace from our Metaverse and basically trade those NFTs. And we also have gamified NFTs within our Metaverse, and we also have an e-commerce and entertainment component to our Metaverse that have gamification and NFTs as part of them. We're working on a number of different projects, but as far as I know, we're the first platform that decentralizes and also ties in all of these components together, including artificial intelligence. We have a very powerful engine behind NFT creation and transformation. So our platform is having a TGE at the beginning of March, and we are focused actually initially on a gamification aspect of the project. So we've got a number of play-to-earn games coming out, and our token launch is also going to be at the beginning of March. It's going to coincide probably with the game. Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And welcome again, everybody. So let's jump to our questions. So remember to raise your hand if you want to put in your ideas. So first of all, what do the NFT or GameFi or even Metaverse mean to you or to your project, and how will you adapt it to your project or your work in 2022? If you want to answer, you can raise your hand.
Yeah, I could go.
Yeah, let's hear from Alex.
Okay, yeah, yeah. So we've got a number of projects in the pipeline for 2022, and we're finding new use cases for NFTs. So, for example, we are finding that legal custody of digital and non-digital assets that can be represented as NFTs in our metaverse. For example, we have a couple of projects where we're actually creating becoming custodians of memories and legal assets for people who want to pass down their assets to the next generation. They want to pass on maybe even things like birthday greetings or wedding greetings and so on to their children, time-locked events and time-locked actions. We also have of course, the digital assets that we create, and we have galleries, we have museums within our metaverse, and we're actually getting a lot of interest in purchasing parcels within the metaverse to create merchandise and related activities within metaverse. So we're finding that people are finding more and more use cases for metaverse, NFT, gamification, and AI, for example, which we're working with, and also e-commerce. We're finding that e-commerce and metaverse have a lot of overlapping interests. And also streaming. We're finding music events, and we're finding sporting events are something that are going to be heavily, using the metaverse environment. So we're just finding that people are coming up with more and more use cases, and we are actually at the sort of the leading edge of that. We're seeing people approaching us because of the unique nature of our platform.
Got it. Amazing. So, as you said, many projects are just coming out every day. So some of them are just out here because the metaverse concept is trending. So how can a project be different, or be better than the normal project? For example, encouraging user-generated content, or push out the design to earn, instead of play to earn. So any guy hey, do you have an idea about this, Edwin? Yep, you're on mute.
Sorry again. Yeah.
Yep, no
problem. I think metaverse is basically it's not really the actual thing, but it's more like a concept. So I think the ultimate concept of metaverse is to simulate whatever we are doing in the reality, and just to bring the people closer and together. And we try to eliminate the barrier of the communication, or so there won't be no more you need to travel in order to interact with the other, and sort of build a closer personal touch, right? So whatever project fits that description, I believe that project is building the metaverse. So I think it's gonna bring a boost to our crypto industry, probably to provide more utility case, and basically from 3 points of view. One is from the virtual economy, and so there is going to be tokenomic systems, and they do have the pre-designed resource, mechanism, and to figure out how the resource are going to allocate. And the second thing is the digital ownership and identity. So everything, pretty much the identity, any asset can be NFT, right? And the third thing will be the DAO governance. So everything in the metaverse, what people trying to build or doing is gonna be decided by the community. And such mechanism will be public and transparent, and it will be inclusive. So it's not like just like one party gonna rule everything, and it will be cross governance. So sort of like multi-union metaverse, and they can come out to have a group and to make up such rules. So that's probably my perspective for the metaverse.
Okay. So what kind of games or Metaverse project do you think it's like more unique? Like instead of just another Metaverse project or like another crypto game. So like what kind of project do you think it's gonna stand out from all those like normal projects? Like what's the feature or what's the special thing about them? Yeah.
Yeah, I think the most important elements is the open world. So you got to provide an open space so you let the players they have enough freedom to decide what they want to build or what they want to create. I think that's pretty much the most important concept of the metaverse is actually the freedom to do the stuff, to create, and so the people will be willing to spend maybe 24 hours a day into it. Yeah.
Thank you, Edwin. Thank you. So next question, do you guys think NFT or like gaming is the ultimate gateway to experience the metaverse? Is crypto gaming with like VR goggles going to be the metaverse, or are we going to experience it through something else? Or like VR is the first thing we're going to experience when it comes to metaverse? Let's hear from Wesley. What's your take on this? You're on mute.
There we go.
Yep.
Yeah, so personally, I think that the lines between what's a game and what's not a game in the metaverse are going to be blurred, because when we start to look at things like social media platforms and these virtual spaces where you can represent your IP through NFTs, and where NFTs are also operating as entry tickets to many of these spaces, I think that people are going to, what's been very closely related with gaming typically, I think is going to spread out from there. So in a sense, it is a gateway, but I think we're already moving and branching into things that, whether or not you call them a game is up to perspective, right? Because it's adding more fun and engaging elements. And it's what I would say, it's gamifying a lot of aspects such as social media, but I wouldn't necessarily call these a game. So in a sense, it's a gateway, but it's very quickly branching out and kind of separating from that. And I think that the VR goggles, an interesting concept, because they've something that have been taken off, but failed to really launch. And I think that's not the only way to experience the metaverse. And I think we're starting to realize that as well. I think we're starting to see that you can experience it without just putting on a pair of goggles in your face. That's just one way that you can enter the metaverse. And we're just getting started from there. So.
Thank you. Thank you. Alex?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I agree that gaming is probably sort of the one of the first synergies that people have discovered, between metaverse and the outside world. But I do agree that gaming is going to become sort of more like a simulation, of events as opposed to, just interactive things. So, for example, yesterday I was on a call and we had firefighters. In the U.S., they were asking about if they could train their, staff, for very specific scenarios in metaverse. And then there were people who were saying, well, they could use a 3D laser printer to create, objects within metaverse collaboratively, or on their own, and then print it outside of the metaverse. So there's a lot of use cases. Now the metaverses are like the big players are coming into the market. I mean, like, frankly, metaverses are kind of dull right now. If you go into any metaverse, you get fairly bored, fairly quickly bored, because there's really not much happening in there nowadays. It's more about speculation, and it's about publicity and so on. And a lot of like Facebook is trying to dominate the field, and you got everyone, jumping on the bandwagon. But going back to the point, I think that Edwin was saying was that if we're creating an alliance, for example, Metacraft, we're creating alliances with other metaverses, and we're trying to plug in together and share traffic and ideas and, spaces. But in general, I think that, for example, the goggles have limited day-to-day functionality. They do have adverse impacts on your health, on your vision, on your brain function. And I think that for extended presence in a metaverse, probably we won't see people with goggles. You might have younger generation, but in general, I think that the metaverse is going to be readily available on PCs and mobiles. And I see the future as alliance of metaverses with a simulation of real-time, real life events. And of course, entertainment as well, gaming and so on, and business, but e-commerce and related economic activity is going to increase in the metaverse.
Thank you. Marcus, how do you see it?
Sorry. Okay. Yeah. Well, in my opinion, like metaverse is a rebranding of virtual reality actually, and virtual reality is nothing new. It's just that with current technology, we can build a bigger shared virtual space and link everyone to play the games that we build in there. So you can try to imagine you're playing a Minecraft with a VR headset as a first-person view. So in my opinion, although gaming is not the first to use VR in the industry, but gaming industry will be the gateway to experience metaverse, because it is for the masses. Gaming is for the masses, and is easy to accessible. Everyone can join. It's not like solely to professionals. That's what I thought.
Thank you, Marcus. And Ignis, what do you think about this?
Right. I think so. I really see metaverse as just kind of like a course correction of kind of like the development of the internet. So internet was invented to provide a level playing ground for everyone. But the social media, the web 2 giants, they really perverted. So just think of all the sort of like interactions that we have on social media platforms. We do things that we were taught by the social media companies to do, because like we don't used to like something by clicking a button. Like those are not actions that are intuitive to people, but it's basically a number of functions invented by those companies to collect data from us and to sell our data as products to advertisers. So in a way, kind of Facebook is its foray into Meta truly trying to kind of like broaden up this new amazing space for people to interact, to work? Not really. Well, the impetus of that is, it has already bought Oculus Rift, and it's not going that well. And then at the same time, Apple is changing its privacy rules, and then Facebook is seeing its advertising revenue plummet, and it was worried that this might become like a very difficult to kind of like a model to sustain. So it's trying to pivot into this place that it can more or less kind of like claim for its own. And then, but I think it is also just important for everyone who is working in Web3 metaverse to see, if one of the largest companies in the world is so just kind of like bent on being sort of continue to be a big player in this, and it's not just metaverse of that sort of suggested by Facebook. Like there are a number of Fortune 500 companies and large kind of like software companies working on similar ideas as well. So you do see this kind of like metaverse, Web3, whatever you like to call it, is a place where power is given back to the actual users. They actually get to own their own data. They get to basically interact with the platform, with other users on the platform on their own terms, instead of kind of like you using those like buttons, using those kind of like favorites, whatever retweets that is taught to them by others. They get to interact the way they want. And of course, we are at such early stages, as our fellow panelists just said. Like when you go to those kind of metaverse hangout, it looks very sad. All the kind of like graphics are just kind of like look like an early 90s kind of computer game. But I do think this is a positive step forward, because people are actually spending their time into enriching the experience and into actively building this world, because for the first time, they actually feel that this is something they're building for their own, they can own, instead of they're just populating a space that is dictated to them by some centralized company. So, you're seeing people actually taking power back and actively building onto something that they want to call their own.
Thank you, Ignis. So after like discussing that, so do you think if NFT or like the metaverse, if the development had a roadmap, what do you think it will be like? It will look like? What's out there to be unlocked in like say 5 years? What is going to be in the long term, like 5 to 10 years? Can you give us a vision from your perspective? Like some of you just covered this in the last question, but let's kind of like elaborate a little bit, like from the perspective for your project, for your company. Maybe let's start from Alex.
Yeah, so I think that the trend, it was great that NFTs represent digital assets now, but I think the trend is actually going to be towards mapping NFTs to physical assets as well. And NFTs have a security aspect to them as well, and the governments are recognizing that. So they're treating NFTs as security or as a conduit for laundering money and avoiding KYC and so on. So, for example, yesterday there was an arrest of the 2 hackers who had stolen something like $3.6 billion worth of Bitcoins. And what they were doing was that they were actually buying NFTs. They were, laundering the money through buying NFTs. So I think that people are finding more and more use cases for NFTs, and the future is when there's actual real life, as opposed to these digital arts and so on. I mean, these are not life-sustaining objects, but if you can map NFTs to let's say a will or property, physical asset that can be securitized against the NFT, then that's when the NFT is going to take off. Otherwise, it's going to stay in the realm of, game players and artists and so on and so forth. And we're finding that people are coming, for example, and finding more use cases. Like I said, people are saying, hey, introduce me to a celebrity, and that's going to be an NFT. It's not a digital art, but it's basically value associated with a moment in time, right? So the introduction to a celebrity is, can be, retained, as it can retain its value. So I think that going forward, people are finding that more and more real life use cases for NFTs, and that's when it actually can be mapped to an economic activity that's life sustaining to them in a real life.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you for the insight. Marcus, let's hear from you.
Yeah, I'm pretty much agree with Alex there on NFTs. And then for this, let's say it's crypto gaming. In my opinion, most probably crypto gaming in 5 years' times will be a norm, because everyone will eventually be moving in that directions. And in terms of market entry strategies, there will always be pioneers and the followers and the late entrants. We are currently in somewhat in a late pioneer, early follower stage. So there's still market there. So in 10 years time, what I hope to see in this industry is the capable of doing games like you watch in the movies, like Ready Player One, given the current tech advancement speed, the industry might able to achieve that. Furthermore, in Metaverse does not only apply to gaming industries. It also can be in other industries. In this pandemic period, we all experience working remotely, work at home. And it's proven that works can be done even without you physically in the office. So certain companies can adopt these Metaverse technologies for their operations.
Thank you, Marcus. Edward, let's hear from you.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree with Alex, and I just want to elaborate more about it. Yeah, I think in the future, like everything can be NFT, right? Your ID, your bank card, and your lease contract, everything can be on-chain and also can be monetized. So like eBay, it probably will be full of NFT and the real estate. unit, like house, condos, apartments, and also like sort of the co-sharing concept, the Airbnb, Uber, the timeshare unit, all sort of thing can be NFTs. So like all of a sudden, if like so many things we can attach the NFT onto it, and they can get their own like actual value assigned and can be traded on the exchanges. So that means more values can be collected from the original owners, and a new business model can be created. So probably I can give you one of the example, right? So if let's say a piece of real estate is selling as NFT, right? And the first hand, like the original owner, he can probably collect the percentage of revenue on every subsequent transaction. So when like each transaction you can collect 1 to 3% sort of things for maybe next year, or maybe let's say maybe the time period is forever. And so he got the this kind of exclusive right, and he can transfer the right, and also he can maybe give to his children, right? So probably he's willing to lower his selling price by 30% in order to exchange this right to collect the revenue stream. So I mean, the new business model and the disruptive business model will be there, and there will be more new financial instrument and derivatives from that, right? So probably that's just one thing I can think of for now, but I believe there will be more things. So new business model, new values, there will be so much more in the future.
Thank you, Edwin.
Thank you.
Yep. So Wesley, I believe you are close with your followers and audience. How do you and how do they think about the future of the industry?
Yeah, well, I would agree with Alex as well, as far as the future being more than just games. I think the NFT gaming space has a lot of room to grow, and we're already seeing AAA companies start to adapt that. And I think that is kind of the 3 to 5 year reign, is where we see gamers taking back ownership of their assets, right? Because you have games, you have the major AAA games right now, and players are paying a monthly fee, or they're paying $80 to $100 up front to play a game, and then nothing they have in the game is theirs, right? And so gamers really want this sense of ownership. And I think we're going to see that integrated into more games and more major gaming studios. And then, as Alex put it, down the road, I do think NFTs are going to, and as Edwin said as well, I think they're going to expand into many more cases, because the security of being able to have something on the blockchain, and just the ability to track paperwork and licensing for vehicles, and like paperwork for real estate and stuff like that, I think is where NFTs will go, as well as they start to branch out from games. So, yeah.
Thank you, Wesley. Thank you. So let's come to the final question. Something maybe like more practical for our audience, something that they want to know about the industry. So will in the future, the exchanges or companies be open to creating their own secondary market exchanges in Metaverse, like, for example, an NFT marketplace in the Metaverse, or some like virtual exchange in Metaverse? Like, how do the exchanges and companies see about this? Ignis, what is Bybit doing about this right now? Could you like elaborate a little bit more to us, like the launchpad and everything in the Metaverse?
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's a very interesting thought, and we're actually exploring kind of building a Bybit virtual office either in the Sandbox or Decentraland. It is definitely something that we are very interested in, and just to have like if nothing else, to have one more avenue that we can interact with our users. Another thing that we are also working on is just kind of like creating basically like NFT collectibles, or like NFT fashion items. So one of the successful kind of like launchpad was Really, and we even got a tweet from Meta, the Facebook Meta, from that, because like the launchpad was very successful, and somehow, and really kind of they build Metaverse fashions, basically like those items that you can wear with your Metaverse avatar, and those are NFTs, and then they have a token as well. And another thing that we're working on was like the actual fashion brands and luxury watch brands into creating Metaverse fashion. So I think, basically like in the physical world, you're probably not going to change your appearance too much, through the course of the day, unless you're a fashion model. But in the metaverse, really, like in every moment, depending on who you're dealing with, you can actually sort of show yourself in different ways, and then you can kind of like show different facets of yourself and display kind of like different aspects of your personality, also just to kind of blend in with the people that you're hanging out with. And I know many of the panelists talked about kind of like the real world kind of like use of NFTs, but I think there's also like another avenue into that direction, especially if you think about the young people who are spending so much time on the internet already, and we are only seeing that to be a one-way trajectory. They're going to spend more time, probably even more time in the metaverse than in the real world, and then like the line gets really blurred. Is it more important to have a pair of really nice looking sneakers in the real world, or would it be in the metaverse? Because in the metaverse you can actually share with the people that you like, because for the longest time we actually have this idea that your best friends actually in real world, and these are the real friends, they're internet friends. But like with kind of like the coming of age of kind of like Reddit and everything, we actually find, we can actually find people whom with whom we can share far more than kind of like some of the real life friends on the internet, and we can find those kind of niche communities and people who we probably wouldn't otherwise meet in the world, but feel kind of like this kindred spirit. And another idea about NFTs is really just kind of like, for the longest time, people have had art, but when you kind of buy something from Sotheby's, what do you next do? You put that art in a free pot, and then it's never seen the light again until it gets next auctioned. NFT allows you to display the same art in front of everyone. Everyone knows you own it. So I'm all for kind of like using NFT as almost like a security to kind of like sanctify, to encapsulate your rights to a certain physical item in the real world. But I also do see a lot of interesting play that can be done in actually going full metaverse. And we want to Bybit as a business want to support both. I've talked a lot about kind of like in the metaverse what we're going to do, but in the kind of like real world items, we're also talking to celebrities to create kind of like the NFT, basically digital certificates of their real life personal items. Maybe something of a public figure that is important to them, and then we can create an NFT. So the person who buys the NFT can not only have the NFT but also the physical item attached to it, and then NFT can act as a digital certificate of ownership that is immutable. And then it also solves the problem of kind of like art. For the longest time, two biggest problem you have art is authenticity and the chain of custody, which NFT solve both. So like all of those are possibilities, and we are really in such an early stage that whatever sort of like predictions we make may just look very unimaginative in like not to say 5 years, even just 5 months.
Yeah.
It will be fascinating to witness all of them to come true in the future. Yeah, Alex.
So the one of the use cases that we've come across that Ignis can probably relate to is we're finding that some clients, some of the projects we're implementing, they actually require KYC, or they would like to have KYC. So given, for example, with our platform, we're decentralized. So we have a DAO, we have crowdfunding, but we don't have a central authority. So therefore, we can't retain KYC information on anyone. We can't conduct that. But we're thinking about partnering with attestation, KYC attestation services. So such things are actually quite common. I was on a project like that a few years ago with a blockchain attestation. So basically, you could purchase attestations, from institutions that have KYC the individuals, or you could actually pay, or individuals can pay to get KYC. So then you come into the metaverse, and if you, for example, you're operating a centralized exchange, or you're operating some sensitive business, you can, for example, filter the metaverse, or you can filter visibility based on the KYC status of the visitor. So we're finding that we could do a lot of that, and it could even get extended to things like dating. You get, because a metaverse is wide open, right? It's a wild west. So there's no telling who's going to be there. The criminals might be coming, and probably, you got pedophiles and criminals and so on and so forth, right? So we're finding that a KYC status of a visitor, for example, could be very valuable for the metaverse operators, for their businesses, for even the games, right? Because now you have, let's say you got I don't know, esports, you got some kind of like gamification, right? Someone claims to be, the celebrity who won this and that, a contest or whatever, right? You could actually do a KYC to identify or to confirm that that person it was indeed the person, they claim to be. So we're finding that in the case of a centralized exchange, for example, this KYC status would allow a centralized exchange to operate, let's say, within the metaverse, without having to compromise, their security concerns. Just wanted to pass that on too. Yeah.
Amazing ideas. Thank you for sharing, Alex.
Mhm.
Does anybody else want to? Okay. If no one's gonna, so that will be all for today. Thank you so much for your amazing insights and ideas. And thank you again for joining the panel. And thank you for joining the Crypto Carnival. That will be all today. And have a nice day, guys, and have a good night.